What's going on, y'all? Salute, man. I'm about to share something with y'all, and it's probably something you didn't know about me. Um, Before I say what I'm gonna say, and before I get into this testimony, I just want to let you know, man. God just spoke through one of my friends. Her name is Randy. Shout out to you, Randy. Thank you, for saying what God told you to say. And I just want to, thank God real quick and give you a shout out and give you credit for just talking to me and commenting on one of my posts. I've been praying about how to share this testimony. I knew that God wanted me to share what I experienced, but I just didn't know when or how to say it. If you watch my content and you've been watching me for a while, you know that I post music and I post little bits and pieces, of my life, but I've never shared this testimony. Okay, so I'm gonna share it with you. Um, I used to be addicted to pills. Okay, y'all heard me talk about addiction, but I never really got into depth, what happened to me before I stopped and the reason why I stopped. Um, so there was one particular day, I was like 23, 24 years old. Um, One of my homeboys gave me some Percocets, right? And he gave me like six. And I took all six of them. And of course, like I went out with him. We went out that night. We went to the club. And when we got back, it was like maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And he gave me like six Percocet pills, right? And he was like, hey, bro, go home, get you some rest. Look, you just take one of these. If you don't want the rest, just sell them. You know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, bet. So I took one of them on the way home. I left his house. I went to the gas station. I got me an ice house, right? And I took one of the Percocets and I drunk. I was just sipping off of that ice house, sitting in the parking lot, and I was waiting for the liquor store to open up, right? This is like around 7:30. Liquor store opened at 8. So I waited. When the liquor store opened, I went in there and I got me a pint of Amsterdam gin. I popped another one and I took a shot. You know what I mean? Then I went in the store and I got me a cold Sprite and I drove home, right? Didn't feel nothing. When I got home, I started to feel it, right? So I'm like, dang, I'm bouncing, trying to bounce it, trying to, get my groove back. You know what I mean? Get my step back, get the pep in my step back, right? And I rolled me a blunt. You know what I mean? So roll me a blunt, go outside, sitting on the front porch. You know what I mean? Talking to my mom and everything. Everything is normal. You know what I mean? And then that pill hit me. Boom. Right? Knowing me, you would have thought that I would have quit. I took another one. Right? So now I'm up to 3 pills. And I keep smoking, keep drinking, playing some music, just chilling, right? Acting like I'm normal. You know what I mean? And I go in my room and it kind of wear off. Then the liquor hit me. Gin, if you don't know anything about gin makes you numb. The dangerous thing about gin is some addicts, that's the reason why you see them drink white liquor, because it makes you numb. You don't feel anything. Everything that you have taken, whether it's pills, if you've done cocaine, whatever it is, white liquor will numb it. You know what I mean? And I felt numb. I'm like, I'm good now. I bounce back. Now, here's the deception. I think that the pill now wore off, not understanding how narcotics work. Okay? Narcotics, something like Percocets, it breaks down in your system slow. You know what I mean? It's a dose and it hit. And these like Percocet teens, right? So they're not like the high dosage, but they strong as hell. Like literally, they strong as hell. Don't worry about hell. We finna get into it. So I'm up to the third pill. I'm drinking gin, and I think I remember eating me something. This is like early afternoon. This is like lunchtime, right? And I ain't even went to sleep yet. You know what I mean? So that I felt like that pill wore off. I went in my room, popped another one. So I'm up to the fourth one. I got two more left, right? And I'm sitting there and I keep taking shots. I'm snacking, watching TV, playing the game. Then I was like, I'm gonna go outside, da 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 da. Go outside and I throw up, right? So I throw up. Once I throw up, I see, the pill come up. So right then and there, I felt like that was God, saying, hey, stop. You know what I mean? Stop. Me, I'm hard headed at the time. I don't listen. And once I throw that pill up, I feel the high really wear off. Like the high wear off. At this point in time in my life, I was real depressed. I was real depressed. I didn't know about like salvation. I didn't know that God can actually heal you. You know what I mean? And at this time, you know, I was going to church. I was reading my Bible, but God wasn't real in my life. You know what I mean? I was still living any and every kind of way. You know, I'm faking it. You know what I mean? I'm playing Christianese at this point. But behind the scenes, Joe, I wasn't living right. You know what I mean? And like I was real effed up in the head. You know, and I'm trying to use Jesus as a Band-Aid when he want to be the doctor. You know what I mean? I'm trying to use God as just this facade to cover up what's really going on. So I'm thinking I can live any way I want to live and just go to God and talk to God and everything gonna be okay. That's not how it works. You know what I mean? And that's where my head is at. You know what I mean? And once I throw up and I throw everything up, I go and pop the 5th pill. You feel me? I pop the 5th pill and I take some more shots and I drink another cold beer and I'm just outside out of it. Like I'm talking about I'm high as hell at this point, literally. Okay? So I started to have these thoughts. You know what I mean? I started to have these thoughts and these thoughts were very evil. And I made up in my mind, I don't want to be here anymore. That thought came. And I looked at my little, my little druggie pouch. I kept all of my goodies, if you will, in a Crown Royal bag. Crown Royal bag sitting on the picnic table, and I'm standing outside looking in the sky. And I hear a voice say, take that last pill. And I did. I took that last pill. By this time, I think I had about this much, maybe about that much gin in the bottle. So I put the pill in my mouth, turn the bottle up, and I go lay down. Okay? When I laid down, I was like real anxious. I did not feel right. I felt really, really weird. I felt like this is not, I'm not supposed to be in this room right now. I really need to like try to get this stuff out of my system. But I ignore that because I'm drunk and I've been popping pills and I've been smoking marijuana, obviously. And I just, whenever you get like that, it's easy to ignore the voice of the Holy Spirit, right? So I lay down and I closed my eyes. And I remember waking up, looking at the clock, and I think it was like 106. It was like 106. I remember the number 106. And I closed my eyes. And then when I closed my eyes, I remember falling asleep. And I woke up. You know what I mean? I woke up. At first, I seen my room. And then I went back to sleep. When I woke up, I remember breathing really, really hard, like it was something wrong, but I couldn't talk. And then I passed out. I went back to sleep. Then I woke up. I woke up in it was real dark. Like it was real dark and I could see kind of around me and I felt like I was in a cave. It was like I was in this cave. If you ever like looked at a cave and you got like a campfire burning, that's what it looked like. Like I was in this cave and I woke up in front of this opening. And it was kind of like an opening in the corner of the cave, and it was just like this big, big hole in a corner, and a hole went from midway of the wall of the cave, and it curved around on the ground, and I was laying by it, and I remember hearing screams, and these really it was like triune voices. So it sounded like 3 voices in one. And I remember them saying stuff that I could not understand. Like they were speaking a language I could not understand what language they were saying. And like it was like I felt the fear. Like I've never felt that kind of fear before. Like if you walking down the road at night, you know what I mean? And it's pitch black dark outside and you like walking through maybe like the Appalachian Mountains or something, it's some crazy stuff out here. You know what I mean? That fear you feel, like it don't hold a candle light to what I felt. I felt like that something is finna happen to me. And when it happened, that's it. This is reality. Like the reality of what was going on outweighed my understanding, if that makes sense. And I can remember thinking that, right? So I'm laying here near this big, and it had to be, so I'm laying on one end of like this big dark cave looking place. And the only light was what was coming from that big hole, and that hole sounded like it had a furnace in it. Okay, so if you can imagine yourself laying in like a dark cave, it's like really, really dark, and the only glow that you see is the glow that's coming from like this big hole in the stinking wall and ground, and it's like a furnace. So it's that's kind of what it sounded like, but it was loud. I'm talking about it was loud. It was like that sound every time that hole, it was like the hole was breathing, and the way that you thought about it was acidic. It's like somebody poured acid on your thoughts. So every time you would have this thought, it would be distorted, and you could hear screams and different languages and stuff coming out of this hole. And there were these things that were trying to come up through the hole, but it was just like it was like some kind of way, like the heat. Once they got past the heat, they would just go back down and they would do something. You know what I mean? So it was like you see something like let's say if you was watching this hole, let's say you out in the yard and you see a hole in the ground and it's like a snake or a squirrel trying to come up, and then they go down and look like they messing with something. It's like they messing with something, and then they come back up and they look at you, and then they go back down in the hole, and you can see like their back and their hind end, and it's like they're pushing something down in the hole. Okay, that's what it looked like. But there was just these big, distorted, weird looking creatures, man, and they were like trying to come up through this hole. And they would come up through this hole and they would look at me, and then they would go back down in the hole, and I could see them moving around throughout the hole. But it was like the glow was so bright that I couldn't see past the glow. Okay, so I'm laying there trying to figure out what in the hell is going on. Where am I? And why? Where am I? Like what's going on? So I'm laying there, and I happen to look up, and I look up, and I can't see the top of this cave. I can't see the top of this cave, and somebody moved a rock. It was like a rock was moved, and when that rock was moved, sunlight shined through that rock, and a man walked through that rock and grabbed me and picked me up. He picked me up like I was butt naked. I didn't have on no clothes. I could see everything, and in my body, I'm 177 now. When that light hit my body, like it looked like I weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. I could see my ribs. I could see my arms. Like I looked nothing like how I looked like I hadn't eaten in weeks and days. And I mean, I was like burning up, but I wasn't sweating. It was just like, it was way different. You know what I mean? It was way different. I wasn't sweating, and I was burning up. And this man, he walked down in this, like he walked down through like these cylinder steps. Like he was walking on the rocks. The rocks was lined up against the wall, and he walked down these rocks, and he came and he grabbed my arm and pulled my arm up. So if I'm laying down, he picked my hand up and he grabbed my arm and he put it over his shoulder, and then he lifted me up off the ground. And he didn't say nothing. This dude was huge. He was huge. He had I couldn't even, it was so dark in there, I couldn't even really see and make out what he looked like. But he wasn't like no white dude in that. And I think that this guy was, it could have been Christ, but then again, I don't know, and I don't want to lie to y'all, and I don't want to tell y'all something that, is not true. But a man came down in that hole, and he grabbed me by my wrist and grabbed my arm and lifted me up. He was huge. When he wrapped his arm around me, he was able to hold my hand, hold my arm over his shoulder like this. And then he took the other hand and wrapped it around my waist and picked me up. My feet weren't even on the ground. My feet went on the ground. Like he carried me up out of there. When we got back up through the opening, I seen my house. He handed me off to this creature, And this creature was like 9.5 feet tall. And I know for a fact that could have been an angel because he knew my name. He knew my name. He called me Mark Levi. Come on. And he walked me. We walked up my front porch, walked through the wall, and I seen my mama and my daddy sitting right there with the paramedics. And the paramedics was sitting there and they had me hooked up to this machine. And they was trying to bring me back. They was trying to bring me back. And I looked up at this thing and he told me, he said, go lay down. Go lay down. And so when you lay down, you're going to feel the ruach. And that's the word that he used. I don't know what ruach means, but he used the word, you feel the ruach. And I looked at him and I walked to my body and I laid down. I laid down in my body. And I don't even remember being connected to my flesh, but I remember laying down and looking straight at the paramedic. When I laid down in my body, I looked straight at the paramedic. And he was like, are you okay, Mr. Liggins? And he said, hey, you okay? Wake up, wake up. Hey, Mr. Liggins, wake up, wake up. And I'm like, huh? What's going on? He was like, are you okay? I said, yes, sir, I'm fine. He said, dude, what the fuck, dude? That's what he said, pardon my French. Wake up, dude, sit up, sit up. And I sat up and I was looking. I'm like, what's going on? My daddy was crying. My mom was crying. Everybody was sitting there and they was just looking at me. Okay? They was looking at me. And some stuff happened after that. I quit. I quit that day. I stopped. To this day, the sounds that I heard coming out of that hole, the smell, if you've ever passed a dead carcass on the side of the road, it smelled like Febreze. I could not breathe. It mean, like, I never forget that day. Never. Ever. I never forget that day. So y'all wonder why I be on here talking about God. Y'all wonder why I make the music that I make. Y'all wonder why I try to have conversations. I don't try to preach. I'm not here to force anything. I'm not here. See, at this point in time in my life, I did not believe in God. Like I could say that I believed in God, but I didn't really believe him. Like I didn't really allow him to be a part of my life, yo. I was just, people be like, well, you a Liggins, you was raised in the church. Man, being raised in the church made me hate church more. Because it looked fake to me. I was watching people that serve in the church go out there in the world and do stuff that really wasn't even right. And I was a kid and I knew this. So church seemed fake as hell to me when I was a kid. That had nothing to do with the influence. The way God influenced my life was separated from everything that I had ever been raised with. Everything. Because it ain't about a belief. Hell don't need your belief. It don't. God don't need your belief. Christ don't need you to believe in him. He never said that. God never made you want to believe. Like you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to. You don't. That's not going to affect eternity for any soul here on earth. Your belief and your faith is only a confirmation of what's already going on, bro. It's a confirmation of what's already taking place. Do you know how many times I've been called crazy? Do you know how many people that have, people turned their back on me? Do you know how many times, like, I don't even feel comfortable being here? Like, do you know how much I've sacrificed, how much I've given up? Because I know what God showed me and I know what God wants to do with my life, and I just can't be a part of that no more. I can't. People think that I'm crazy, bro. They told me I'm crazy. They told me, like, nigga, you is crazy, bro. You need to go get some therapy. You need to go get some help. That's the reason why I've never shared this testimony. But thank God for you, Randy. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Thank God for you. I don't know who's listening to this right now. Hey, I ain't no pastor. Hey, I don't even go to church every Sunday. I don't. I'm sitting at the hospital right now, waiting for my sister to get here because she had a seizure. Okay? So I got stuff going on. I struggle too. Sometimes I feel discouraged. Sometimes I don't know why God put me in the situations that he put me in. But Christ carried the cross. He did. So guess what? I'm going to carry this cross. Whatever God got for me, hey, hit me. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's do it. Is it easy? No. Do it hurt? Yes. Do I always feel like taking up my cross and following Jesus? No, I don't. I don't. It's hard, bro. It is. It's not easy, but I know what I seen that day, and I know that it was real. It was real. It wasn't, I didn't know nothing about hell. I had no idea. I never read the scripture about it, didn't know what it was like. So for it to be a part of my imagination, you can't even say that, because in order to imagine it, it's got to be up here, and I didn't have no recollection. I didn't believe in hell. I was like, bro, what is that? That's what, that fire? You burn up, Jesus gonna burn you, God gonna burn. I had no idea what hell was, bro. I didn't know what it was. It was not my imagination. How the hell you imagine something that ain't even image? Wasn't no images here. I was just living in the moment, getting high, getting toe up, and trying to enjoy myself, living life. Had no idea what was going on. None whatsoever. Didn't care nothing about no hell, no heaven, no Jesus, none of that. I didn't care about none of it. I didn't. Because look at what I done been through. God can't be real. God can't love me. Me? He don't love me. Look at what I got to deal with. You love me? Man, you ain't even real, bruh. And this was my heart. This is how I felt. And guess what? Whoever that was didn't let me lay by that hole. Now, did he? No. He didn't let me lay by that hole. Whoever that man was came down on them rocks, crawled down, and he picked me up. He picked me up. He grabbed my hand. He picked me up and carried me out of that hole, bro. He picked me up and he carried me out of that hole. And one of them things, one of them creatures, they were 9.5 feet tall, dressed in royal blue, gold, and white, walked me back to my body and told me to go lay down. Go lay down. Take care of your family. Take care of them.